has to do with you.
Good evening and welcome to the Coeur d'Alene City Council meeting of March 19th.
Where's your hammer?
It's right there.
But it's April.
Oh, where is my hammer? Pound, pound, pound. We'll call the meeting to order and we'll note that all the council are present. For our invocation tonight, Pastor Paul Van Oy will be providing the invitation. Welcome, Pastor.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. Father, we come before you this evening asking for your leadership and guidance in our community, for our mayor, for our council members. Lord, I know that you love all of us. I know that you love our mayor, you love our council members. And you've done so much to bring blessing and hope and healing into this community. And Lord, we ask that you would continue to do that. We ask for your protection over our community. I ask for your protection over our council members, that you would give them wisdom as they move forward and as they make decisions. Lord, it is our desire to be pleasing to you in everything we do. And I ask, Lord, that you would, by your grace and power, enable us to know how to be pleasing to you in all the decisions that we make, in all of the directions we take, and the way we protect our families, our businesses, our children, our churches, our institutions, and Lord, that you would be glorified in this community. We do ask, Lord, that your protection would be upon each one of us. Overshadow us with your grace, with your truth, and with your power. For we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Kiki, would you lead us in the pledge tonight?
I would. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, are there any amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, we will proceed to a couple of presentations. They're both proclamations. The first one is the Dark Sky Week proclamation, April 22 to 30. Whereas the aesthetic beauty and wonder of the natural sky is a shared heritage for all of humankind, and the experience of standing beneath a starry sky night inspires feelings of wonder and awe and encourages a growing interest in science and nature. Whereas light pollution has scientifically established economic and environmental consequences which result in significant impacts to the ecology and human health of all communities. Whereas Idaho is home to dozens of nocturnal wildlife species, including the great gray owl and the flammulated owl, both of which are listed as sensitive species by the United States Forest Service. And whereas the International Dark Sky Association, headquartered in Tucson, Arizona, has created International Dark Sky Week. Now therefore I, James Hammond, Mayor of the City of Coeur d'Alene, do hereby proclaim the week of April 22 to April 30th, 22 as International Dark Sky Week. And this proclamation is presented to Sue Ann Alice.
There we go.
Unfortunately, my colleague, James Fillmore, who started this process, is unable to attend this evening, so I'm here in his place. But on behalf of James, myself, and the entire International Dark Sky Association, I would like to thank you, Mayor Hammond, and the City Council. This proclamation is recognition by the city of the important role that dark skies play in the high quality of life that you want to maintain for your citizens. And we truly appreciate your efforts in this. We hope that you can take an extra moment this week of declared as International Dark Sky Week to recognize the sky. Take a look up there. How well can you see the stars? Can you see the stars? And maybe try and remember back to when you first came here. I know many citizens have been here for a very long time. And if this is something that's important to you, to recognize that you do have the opportunity to make choices with lighting, whether it's the city or a business or a residential application. And that's part of what International Dark Sky Week is about, is to take the time to be aware of what dark skies offer us, not only in aesthetics, but inspiration and motivation, as well as our own health, our human health, health of our surroundings, be it the trees. I know the next proclamation is for Arbor Day, and wildlife, and all that we value in this amazingly beautiful community we live in. And let it be known that the dark sky is part of that environment. So thank you for your recognition, and enjoy International Dark Sky Week.
Thank you, Susan. The second proclamation has to do with Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. You know, when I have to read these, I feel like I'm back in third grade. Stand up and read them. Whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, lowering our heating and cooling costs, moderating the temperature and the clean air, producing oxygen and providing habitat for wildlife, and whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal, now therefore I, James Hammond, Mayor of the City of Coeur d'Alene, do hereby proclaim April 29, 2022 as Arbor Day, and I urge all citizens to join in this celebration.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You get to say it.
Oh, I got a few words. Okay, well, for those of you that don't know, I'm Nick Goodwin, the City of Coeur d'Alene Urban Forester. It is a pleasure to be in front of the council once again. And as always, I'm going to talk real briefly about trees. Keep it about 3 minutes for you, if at the most. So I want to thank this council, the mayor and council, for once again, forgive me, my poster's gonna not do full screen today, so I'm just gonna go through it. So once again, declaring Arbor Day for City of Coeur d'Alene in April. This year we're gonna celebrate on Arbor Day, which is Friday, April 29th. We're gonna celebrate Arbor Day this year at East Sherman, the new Pocket Park at 1620 East Sherman. We're gonna have donuts and coffee available for all who attend. This year we're working with local 4th and 5th grade students who are gonna be down participating in the planting. It's part of why we did it on Friday this year. It's a little easier for the kids to come in on Friday versus Saturday. Just really quickly, this Arbor Day proclamation is part of what makes us a Tree City USA. This year we're being recognized as Tree City USA for the 38th year. This is an important part of protecting what is over a $2 million piece of public infrastructure here in Coeur d'Alene. We are once again teaming up with the Arbor Day organization of North Idaho to hand out 3,500 seedlings throughout North Idaho to 4th and 5th grade students, and they're going to plant those all throughout Coeur d'Alene. bagging will be on April 26th, if anybody wants to take part at the IDL Cache. And if you would like to come to Arbor Day, please come celebrate with us. And I thank you and hope to see you there on Friday, April 29th. And if you want to plant a tree in Coeur d'Alene, please call the Urban Forestry Office in Coeur d'Alene. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We next have public comment, and the first person that has signed up is Michael Bennett. Michelle.
It's Michael. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm here on behalf of the Kootenai County Farmers Markets. I am a community advisory board member, but I am joined by the president of the board, Jan Gilstead, and the director of our Friends of the Market nonprofit, Andrea Howe. So we are grateful to be able to come to you guys and talk to you for a brief moment about the municipal services fees that are currently in place for the farmers market happening downtown on Wednesdays during the summer. When the farmers market was formed 36 years ago, it's kind of crazy. It's one of the longest running markets in the state. But when it was formed for 36 years ago, they shut down Sherman Avenue, and all the farmers set up on Sherman and serve the community, and it really helped build agriculture in this area. And when they outgrew that space, then they moved a couple of places and finally ended up at the Hayden location that they're at now. But the Downtown Association really saw the hole that was left when they moved out of downtown, and so asked if they would partner with the Downtown Association to come back into downtown and hold a second market on Wednesdays, because the other one is on Saturdays. So they said yes, and everything's been running great and smoothly. As time has gone on, there have been other fixed costs that have increased and been a part of the market, and our market has grown significantly. I believe one of the documents here says we had 64 new vendors in the past 2 seasons that we've added to our market. And we feel that we really add a lot of value by bringing to the downtown corridor by bringing in other vendors, other experiences, local foods, local producers, local farmers to the area, to this corridor in particular, and adding to what's already here for both our locals and for tourists and anyone who is actually running a business or shopping downtown. So the fee schedule actually says that farmers markets operate less than 3 hours at no charge downtown. And we partner with the Downtown Association to cover the fees that are associated with that. We also share some other costs with them. And we do understand that rising costs of almost everything in our economy and in agriculture and everything, that it is definitely rising. And with all the different costs that we have there is a burden of the city fees, which we totally understand. But we are coming to you because we do actually have beforehand and after the market a total of 6 hours that we actually shut down the street, and we are setting up and tearing down within that time frame. It runs a solid 4 to 7 p.m., but the setup and tear down is also part of the market. So we wanted to propose to change that in the fee schedule to 6 hours instead of 3.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want you to understand that this is not an agenda item upon which the council can take any action at this time.
Okay.
And also, I think that you will need to visit with staff to develop an actual proposal, and with the Downtown Association. There's a bit of confusion for me, at least, and I'm guessing the rest of the council, as to how many of those fees emanate from the association versus the city, what the city's donating. And I would appreciate it if you would work with them before you come back with an actual proposal.
Okay, and we have been, so
Okay.
we're just addressing the one fee, so.
We'll
I appreciate
want
it.
to see something that everybody's come to agreement on.
All right, thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you. Renee Zimmerman?
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mayor Hammond, members of the City Council, and members of the audience. My name is Renee Zimmerman. I'm a Community Development Manager for Ziply Fiber. Ziply Fiber is your local high-speed fiber internet company, having built fiber to over 40,000 homes and businesses here in Kootenai County, with more planned in the future. I have partnered with 4 local chambers, Coeur d'Alene, Rathdrum, Hayden, and Post Falls, to put on a 4-chamber ribbon cutting event. And so that's why I'm here this evening, is to invite all of you, as well as the public, to join us at this 4-chamber ribbon cutting event on May 11th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at our retail location at 2115 North Government Way, to celebrate Ziply Fiber investing millions of dollars in high-speed fiber here in Idaho these past 2 years. We did that 2-year mark purchase Frontier, so you may be familiar with Frontier, and that's when Ziply was created 2 years ago. Music will be provided by Logan Heaps, and we will provide coffee as well as light lunch bites to entice you to come join us over your lunch hour. And there were some postcards that were put at your desk to remind you, and you guys have some, so really hope to see you there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Kara Claridge?
Good evening. Thank you all for the work that you're doing. Can you hear me? Okay. I think if my husband had been elected in November, I'd be living some of your guys' headaches, so thank you. But I don't have a completely glowing review. I'm here tonight speaking as a mom about my concern with the direction I see this council taking our city on social issues. Specifically of concern to me is the recent appointment of Abby Light to the Arts Commission, the soon-to-be installed Monument of Peace and Unity, which bizarrely resembles the Tower of Babel, and will be, according to the artist, a landmark at a major entry into the city. An upcoming Pride in the Park Day that will feature, amongst other things, a drag dance party. I don't know if this is taxpayer-funded stuff or not, and I don't know how this would be in compliance with Title 18, Chapter 15, talking about children and vulnerable adults, including the dissemination of materials harmful to minors. And of course, close to my heart, the inappropriate books and materials that are flowing rapidly into this library, into the children's section, the teen section, that basically lie to kids and confuse their identity. Since January, I've been one of maybe 100 people in the community, I'm just guessing on that number, giving public comment on various topics. And my observation is when the council is presented with truth and good logic by residents, there is a general annoyance or maybe even contempt exhibited. At least that's the way it feels from this side of the podium. I don't come here before you tonight self-righteously. I have missed the mark. My husband and I have made mistakes raising our kids in business and relationships, but we've had the opportunity to fall in the grace of God in those times. There is a way to live that brings blessing and not strife and chaos, and there is a way to govern with good judgment and wisdom. According to the vision statement for you guys for Coeur d'Alene, our vision of Coeur d'Alene is of a beautiful, safe city that promotes a high quality of life and sound economy through excellence in government. And I'm imploring all of you to exhibit excellence, especially when it involves influence over children. I'm asking that you come home to the truth where you have missed the mark. All the other plans, this agenda tonight, all the other plans for the rest of this year don't mean anything if the community can't trust you. We have to know you have our back in regards to kids. Love always protects and trusts. Thank you.
This is not a theater, and so I ask you not to applaud or boo or express any of those. This is a formal meeting, And so you need to, if you want to do that, you need to do that outside. Thank you. Linda Putz?
Don't worry, it's not going to be as bad as it was originally going to be, because I'm not going to read my speech. Pastor Paul's prayer and prayer of some friends has really, really pierced my heart, and so I really want to come to you with a heart of love and asking for that we all have wisdom on how to handle this issue. All of us are here because we all love our city. This is probably as close to heaven as we can get on earth. There's just nothing better, in my opinion, than living here in North Idaho. Unfortunately, what it seems is that we've come to have, right versus left, evil versus good, those woke and those unwoke, and it's become this horrible, horrible battle between the people. And you as elected officials ran because you love the city and you want to do things for the city that are good. And we as the citizens want to support you. That's our heart and our intent. But of course, as the previous speaker just said, we see things very differently. We want the children to be protected, which is part of what my message was 2 weeks ago. But what has happened since then has been anything other than what I would have ever expected. It's like government and the media got together and have just really come against me as just a plain old citizen. And if it comes against me, it's going to come against anyone and everyone else. I don't know how many of you had a chance to see, but I became the cartoon editorial for the Sunday paper after I was here. So there's me, and you know it's me because they made fun of my name, which is Putz, and say I'm putzing around. It's the Arts Commission. It's got a strip dancer. It's got me with a paintbrush as if I did the defacing of the statue over on front of the suffragette. And it's me, it's my glasses, my turtleneck, there's no doubt it's me. And you know what? As a citizen, thank God that he wired me the way that he did, because I'm blessed with thick skin. But the average citizen doesn't have that type of hide, and that's very intimidating. And I do not believe that that's the intent of this council. I don't believe the intent of this council is to malign the citizens. I think we as citizens should be able to come and express our concerns and have you listen with a heart of what is good overall, not just for this particular issue, but good overall. So I'm asking you to please, we can hopefully all throw down our weapons, so to speak, and maybe find some type of a common ground. I mean, there's been videos, there's been all kinds of things that have gone on, and it's just not right, and it's not the way community is supposed to be. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Tom? Tom Schaefer?
Honorable Mayor and members of the council, thank you for listening to me. I came tonight as a citizen of Kootenai County, recognizing that Coeur d'Alene is kind of the social center of this county. So in many ways, the city leads the rest of the county in social issues. I also came in support of my friend Linda, and we talked before we showed up here, and I loved her graceful message to you guys, and I hope that you heard it. I want to remind that, well, no, I don't want to speak that way. I believe we live in a representative democracy, and you all are elected members representing a democratic republic here of varying values, right? And so there are folks who have spoken very eloquently tonight, I won't repeat them, about their concern over the social issue of Abby Light as being the art director. We represent one side of a broad spectrum of opinions, and I just pray that you have the respect to hear us, and I pray that we have the respect to talk to you also respectfully about how we feel on these issues. Sometimes we stumble and we don't, and I think that maybe in the past that's created some of the strife that has existed. And you know, that regret can go to both sides of this dialogue. But I just came to emphasize that this matter is important to us. Abby Light may be a fine artist with a broad spectrum of works, body of works that represents a lot of different things, but these are legitimate concerns, not just to Linda, not just to me, but a lot of people. And we feel it's important what this says as a message to the community as far as our kids are concerned. Thank you for listening to me. No clapping, no clapping.
Randy? Please give your full name, Randy.
Randy Neal. So the thing that I wanted to talk about today is also the Coeur d'Alene Arts Commission. There's standards that we live in as a society. Like there's wartime photos that are not shown to children because it's too graphic. Children, because of their young age, it's one place where the law allows us to be biased. In the same way, we don't let children smoke cigarettes, we don't let children drink alcohol. This person who was appointed unanimously by this council has a piece of art in their portfolio that depicts babies being impaled on a spike. Now, that's not the kind of artwork that I want to see out in the public of our community. There's another person that is on the Coeur d'Alene Arts Board that serves as the chair, Jennifer Drake. If you look at her Facebook page, she has a demonic figure stuffing children into a sack. I have proof of it. I can share it with this council if you'd want. Why do we have people, two satanic artists that are part of our arts commission? How many churches do we have in Kootenai County? How many thousands of people attend those churches? America is based on Judeo-Christian values. We are a country that trusts in God, not the devil. That is it.
Thank you. Are there any council announcements?
Mr. Mayor.
Before that, you want to make a comment?
For what?
Before we go into council comments, or did you?
As a council comment.
Okay, shoot.
Do we have an opening on the Arts Commission?
No,
We don't?
no.
I thought we did. Well, I would just recommend in the future, when an opening occurs, that you consider appointing one of these people to express their concerns on the Arts Commission.
Sure. I think that makes sense. The person that you have objected to, the speakers before us today, is somebody who does not come directly through the normal process applying to the city. That person is a part of the Coeur d'Alene Arts and Cultural Alliance, and it is through that alliance that they have come forth. They represent the alliance. Art is so subjective, and I was visiting with a gentleman today about this issue because it's difficult for this group to make a judgment about good art and bad art. I'm pretty simple. I like the art that I can understand, and others like more complex art. Even my wife.
He's got to stop.
Listen, there was a time to provide public comment. That is over. And there is more complex art that others may enjoy or they don't. But the Arts Commission does not allow the artist on that commission to promote their art. That's not what is going to happen. They only select art for the public. They don't choose their own art. They don't publish their own art. So that will not happen, as has been at least hinted at by some of the testimony tonight. Council?
Mr. Mayor, if I may just add to that, 'cause thank you for sharing that information and background on the Arts Commission. I'd also like to note that on the selection of community art, it is with a panel of local citizens. So any of you out in the audience, I would encourage you to reach out to the Arts Commission as we build those panels for an upcoming piece. And you will have an opportunity to serve and volunteer your time and share your thoughts and your vision for the city in that manner. So it's not all commission members that select the arts. It's a volunteer committee as well.
Mr. Mayor.
Christie?
Thank you. On that topic as well, I think that there's a real misunderstanding about whether we're willing to hear you and listen to you. We are, and we have. What the mayor asked for, as his stated city address, he asked from our local clergy to help our community with civility. And that's been my position. When you would say terrible things about private citizens, that as if they're a danger to children or they're Satanist, I don't think that's civil. I think it's mean. It's cruel. We all have our opinions about art or books or music, but I don't think that we should be a community that comes up here in front of the public, and it's broadcast everywhere, and calls citizens in our community those kind of names. It's really hard as a council person to let that happen and not suggest that it's wrong. So again, the clergy that are helping us with civility, appreciate it very much.
Yes, Dan.
Well, as long as we're weighing in on some thoughts, I think I'd like to touch on some of the things that have been implied, that there are people, that we as a council don't care about children or don't put them first. I know a lot of us firsthand the stuff they've done, but I can speak for myself. I'll put my record of doing stuff for kids and families in this community up against any of you. And in terms of not just talking the talk, but walking the walk, and including Christian organizations, I know the difference. And in terms of kids, and also, I was thinking about the comment, I've had two kids that, served 3 tours between them in the, Iraq War and the kinds of things. And part of me being, as a licensed counselor for 25 years, and like I say, done lots of stuff for kids, part of me says, it's probably good to shield our kids from some things. But then part of me says, what about right now, the kids in Ukraine and seeing the kinds of things that they're seeing, and all around the world. The world isn't a great place a lot of time. There's a lot of reality. And so I guess I just got to comment, kind of give the feedback on that if you want to point to something specific that, we are really running the kids in the ditch or something, not just, somebody's idea of art or something. But anyway, I'm proud of what I've done. I'm proud of what this council has done on all different accounts, including, where our values are, and frankly, in our budget. And people think budgets are just dollars and cents. Well, frankly, for a lot of organizations, that's your value statement. That's who you are. Where your heart is, there your treasure shall be also. And we put a lot of our treasure into things that support kids and families. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on then to the consent calendar.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move to approve the consent calendar as presented, including resolution number 22-016.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion? Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll, please?
English?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Evans?
Yes.
Miller?
Aye.
McEvers?
Yes.
Gookin?
Yeah.
We also have a resolution before us for approval of professional services. Hi, Stephanie.
Aaron, how are you?
Good.
Let's see if I can locate this real quick. I had it in my...
Yeah. Is it the end of the semester? You guys are out here for the class credit?
A good meeting.
You lucked out, you got a short meeting.
I wasn't sure. I was like, what are you talking? All right.
Stephanie's going to night school, so she gets a
Yeah,
little worried
that's
when
what
you
I was
start
like.
talking about school.
I must be missing something. You had me in a panic for a minute. All right, come on.
Yeah, that would have sounded funny.
Okay, so I come to you tonight as the liaison for the city and the Arts Commission. And we are asking for the approval of a $5,000 contract for the 1 year, and then the second year would be $2,520 for the upgrades to the contract. And what it is, the company is called Autocast, and he came to the Arts Commission asking if we would like to maybe have his services. And it's a free mobile upload that you could put on your phone, and then it's a walking guide tour to all the different art pieces. During our February meeting, our commissioners did meet via Zoom with him and learned about his projects. And so, are you going to help me do that? Thank you. And then we voted, and the arts decided that it would be of our best interest that maybe it would be great to have something like this for our city art pieces, so that maybe there would be some better communication and understanding on the individual art pieces. And so this is kind of just an example of what, if you downloaded the app, what it would look like. The app is available on an Android or your Apple phone, either way. It's integrated with other services like GPS and things like that, so that you can get a lay of the land and know where you're at, and they know where you're at. The red dots are different cities, communities that are using this system, Autocast, for whatever various reasons they are. Oh gosh, now what did I do? Oh my goodness, Renata. Okay, so then this is how it would look if you were in a location and the GPS was communicating with the maps. It would know where you are. You're in Texas or New York or City of Coeur d'Alene, and the map then would zone in on where you're at and say, these are the places that we have our services offered to. And then you could select which, if you wanted to, just pick one or start your walking guide tour. On your walking guide tour, there's two different options. You would get a narration of the art piece, which the Arts Commission has
decided that if we go forward with this contract, we have a subcommittee that we've created specifically for this contract. We would work with Autocast and the artist and get the actual artist narration if we could. If the artist is no longer been able to be contacted, someone from our art commission would then do the narration based on the information we have on their art piece. All the art pieces, when they do come to the city, you have to go out to like a formal bid almost like process. So we do obtain plenty of information about the art piece if we don't have a way to be in contact with the artist. So with that, I'm asking that we get the approval of the service agreement. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to entertain them.
Woody?
So is there advertising on this website?
You can have that piece. Right now, that is not something that we are going to entertain during it.
If you had advertising, where would the income go? To the
Well-
Arts Commission or the,
It would be split, right? But the arts budget is what would pay for this, so that's where the income generated from both sides would go, yes.
and who does the description of the art?
Who does the description of the art? Is that your question? So we are going to reach out to each artist of each art piece to give us their narration. And we would really like to have their voice narration of their art piece. If for some reason we cannot be in contact with the artist, we're going to use all the information we have from when we obtained that art piece and have somebody from our Arts Commission do that narration for us.
Is this art going to include the power boxes?
The utility wrap
Utility
boxes,
wraps?
it will not,
Okay.
no.
Also, if something dies or goes away, do you take it off?
Yes, yes. So our art currents is rotating every 2 years. So that's part of that $2,500 service agreement, is that we would have to do those updates for those pieces.
So yearly, it's a yearly expense, and then there's additions along the way? That's what I read?
So the initial contract is for $5,000, and that's to get us established.
Gotcha.
And there's fees for those platforms, those mobile platforms and whatnot, and that's what those are for. Then the $2,500 is for those adjustments that we would make on a yearly basis.
Okay, so $5,000 upfront to start it and $2,500 a year to keep it going,
Correct.
no matter how many pieces you add, because you're doing most of the work, right?
We are doing most of the work. If we decide to add more than the 90 pieces in the contract, there is an additional $80 fee, I believe.
One-time fee?
Yes, yeah,
Thank you.
yes.
Any further questions? You have a proposed motion before you.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution Number 22-017, approving a professional services agreement with Autocast LLC for the creation and hosting of an audio guide mobile app.
Second.
We have a motion second. Yes.
Mr. Mayor, so this is in my wheelhouse. This is an app. This isn't even the best app. I would say it's a colossal waste of money, but it's $5,000, which is not a huge percentage of our budget, but it is still an incredible waste of money when a 3-page folding brochure would probably express the same information for a lot cheaper. When you look at an app, what you're going to look at is something called the average daily active users. So we're going to pay $5,000 for an app. How many people are going to use that app? How much is it going to cost us per user for $5,000 and then $2,500 from here to infinity for an app? We don't know. All we know is that we're going to spend money, and we're going to hope that someone besides a handful of people in the arts community are going to use the app. And how many are going to use it every single day? Well, not a lot. If you go to the App Store, you'll discover that this app has only 10,000 downloads. That's it. There's a lot more apps that do the same thing that are a little more complete that have millions of downloads. and plenty of active daily users. This is not one of them. This is actually very low graded if you check the rating on the app. It's not popular. It used to have ads, and the ads go to pay the developer, but it doesn't anymore. So say we have 20 people download it. It's $20 or $50. It's a lot of money per user, and how often are they going to use it? It's something you have to download on your phone. It does track your location. A lot of people don't like that. I think there's better ways to communicate what our art is than spending $5,000 for an app that is of questionable value. And I mean, even if you look at your presentation and you look at the map of the United States and you see all those red dots, and they only have, okay, let's be generous, they have 10,000 users on Android. Let's say they have 10,000 users for the iPhone. That's 20,000 users spread out over all that. My guess is that the daily use of this app is somewhere down around 0. It's maybe a dozen people a day might use the app. It's an extra step to download. It's more junk on your phone that you may use only once. There's so many better ways to communicate information that are a lot cheaper than spending $5,000 this year and then $2,500 every single year after it. And we don't know how many people, we don't know the effectiveness of it. Again, I think there's going to be a core group of people just because who will go ahead and download the app just because, and it's cool and everything. But, you know, we've been through this episode before when we had a deputy city administrator who tried to sell us on a government transparency app, and I think that was $15,000, $20,000 a year, and no one used it. Staff didn't even use it. And so we quietly quit that contract because it was just a lot of money being poured down the drain. To me, this is the same thing. It's an app that very, very few people will use. So the cost per user is going to be really big. What's the benefit? That's why I would oppose this, Mr. Mayor.
Dan?
Well, I think Dan, makes some valid points. I'm not sure how many other, well, I'm sure anything you want to do, there's a bunch of apps out there, but apparently this person is here, has come forward, made the presentation, evaluating, I guess if, apps isn't really in my wheelhouse, although I use them, I can see where this would be very good. If it doesn't work, down the road, we'll look at different things. I mean, how many copy machine vendors and contracts and support have we been through? I know, like on our parking commission, they've had a different, had an app for the parking thing, and then they're changing. So that's probably going to change with time. One thing in terms of, brochure versus this or something, one thing I do know in my wheelhouse is actually elections and campaigning. And people don't use a whole lot of trifold brochures for campaigning too much anymore because, you do it and it's there and you're stuck. This, I love that they can, you can update things, and if we got a new one, we can do that. So, is there some risk that we don't get total value? Sure, it's a low one, and so this is what's here, and I think it sounds like a good thing to try, so I'm supportive of it, but I do appreciate Dan's comments too.
Amy?
I'll just add a couple comments, and Dan, I really do appreciate your comments because this is your wheelhouse and you come from a very different perspective than really any of us have, so thanks for sharing that. I do want to say that I'll support this because I think it's an opportunity to share the art with the community. As we all know and heard earlier tonight, there's a lot of misconceptions on our art and the artist's intention behind their pieces. And this may not be the perfect tool for communicating that, but it's an additional tool. And as council knows and staff knows, we do have a brochure. We partner with the Bike Ped Committee, and we have for years, and distribute that walking guide of our art pieces, which is a popular feature to Coeur d'Alene and the citizens to be able to take a tour of our art. So this is an additional tool for visitors and our community to learn the specifics behind each piece.
Further discussion,
Just
Christie?
a question, if I can ask Stephanie again. Stephanie, is there I didn't see it, if there's a time frame on a contract? Is it year to year?
Yes.
Okay. Is there some sort of built-in analysis that Dan is speaking to about how well is this working for us?
Oh, sure. So they're able, Dan could probably speak way better on it than I can, but they're able to know how many people are downloading the app and using it in our area because it's linked to like GPS mapping, that they can trace it.
I guess I was looking more analysis by the Arts Commission of I'm not opposed to trying something, but I think it is probably wise to come back and see if it's worth the outgoing funds. And so maybe Amy can answer if there's some sort of analysis after a year, or is this something we really want to keep doing?
Sure. The owner of this Autocast, he's very approachable, and he would be able to provide us with that information as it comes up year to year.
And then I assume the Arts Commission would have that discussion again, Amy, in a year about.
We absolutely could, and I think that's a great idea to evaluate whether it's a benefit to the community or something we want to continue. So, yeah, I'll absolutely take that back to the commission.
Okay, maybe that's a happy medium.
Kiki?
My only comment was that I kind of tend to agree with Dan a little bit in that there's a lot of apps and bells and whistles out there in the world, and you download and you have an app for just about everything. I didn't see a marketing element. So is the Arts Commission planning on utilizing other budget to, in order to use this app, you would have to know it exists. So how would it be rolled out to the tourists or the locals to know that it is available and what it does?
Sure. So it's going to be on our local website. It'll be, we're asking Downtown Association to also help us with noting that it's on, available. The Chamber of Commerce, we will ask them to help us with that. And at some of the local art pieces where we will be able to, that are new coming in, we'll be able to put information that they're able to do that.
On the piece itself?
Yes. Now, when we do decide maybe next year or the year after that this isn't something that is beneficial and being used appropriately for the funds, then we're only bound to this contract for this 1 year and then the next year for the updates. After that, we could discuss again later what we're going to do.
Well, I tend to think that the paper brochure has probably kind of missed some of its mark, but I just wondered if there were going to be additional costs in order to make it worth the investment. So that was my line of question.
Amy?
Mr. Mayor, Randy has a statement for us, I believe.
I just wanted to make one clarification. Under the draft contract that's before you, the initial term is 2 years, but it can be, or the city can get out of it with 30 days notice at any time. And then there are automatic renewals for 1 year periods after that.
Woody?
So Dan, I had a couple questions for you. So being an app guy, when somebody brought this to them, they didn't go, oh, we should get an app for our art. I've got the impression I got. When you think about doing an app for something that you want to keep score on, and I like that, how many meals are we serving for how much money? How do you go out and see how they're judged? Is that it? How many stars you get or something? Was that your?
Yeah, you can check the ratings, you can check the user feedback, you can check the downloads. And the downloads is one of your biggest clues. If you have an app that has millions of downloads, you can be pretty sure that it's probably quite valuable because other people see the value in it. Something like this that has, a very low number of downloads means to me that it's either not popular, it doesn't serve its purpose, it's not hitting the mark. And to me, to be kind of raw here, if you're out there soliciting government for it, it probably sucks.
Mr. Mayor. Dan, maybe when you were looking at some of these, did you find other apps that were a similar ilk that?
There's one called Viator that has over 1 million downloads. It does basically the same thing. And a lot of these things, they want to promote their apps and their advertising. So what they are is kind of a service that basically you just kind of sign up for them and submit the material to them and they handle all the stuff automatically. You don't have to pay a fee because they want their app to be popular and people want to download it for free and just use it. So I think in this instance, you had an approach made to the Arts Commission and a sale, as opposed to the Arts Commission desiring how can we communicate our arts information more effectively to the public, doing research, figuring out what works well in other cities, what's really good. You know, this was a, you know, salesman, would you like to buy some brushes? That kind of thing.
Well, Mr. Mayor.
Christie?
Amy, it is an interesting conversation about process, and I'm wondering if there's still a window for process and maybe looking at other apps, or is this something the Arts Commission just said, this is it?
Well, I can tell you that the Arts Commission supported this proposal, and I'll turn to Troy as our liaison so he can give a little bit more about process behind.
The dollar amount didn't trigger any requests for qualifications or proposals. It was the owner of the company came forward and relayed this. The imagery that he does and the work that he does behind the scenes probably was well received, as he is looking to assist with getting the audio of the artists. And so when that was looked at, that had additional value that not all these other apps would necessarily have, because the owner is doing all this labor behind the scenes. He came in and we negotiated pretty hard. That contract does have exit clauses that the city of Coeur d'Alene asked for.
And I can tell you that one of our artists that is brought a piece of art to the city through the Arts Currents lives in Oregon and in one of the cities that uses it, Hood River, and he highly promoted it and was very impressed with how it worked. And that came to our Arts Commission, and they listened to that.
Further discussion? Yes,
So,
Woody.
Troy, I just have a question. So you're saying he's doing all the work, but I understood it was the Art Commission's doing a subcommittee to do the narratives and collect the data and stuff. So what is he doing?
In the event that the artist is not able to be recorded, somebody has to do it. So the owner of the company can't do it. We have all the data, so, you know, Jeff Crow's listening. We'll use his voiceover on anything that comes forward and see if I get a response out of that. But no, he's willing to contact the artists, do the recording, and make sure that there's a quality product at the end of it.
And that's on the owner's side.
Further discussion?
I think we're all confused.
Seeing none, will the clerk take the roll, please?
Wood?
I'm going to approve because I don't want to stop something, but I would ask that you do a deep review on it, take into consideration some of the things that Councilman Gookin brought forward tonight. They're legitimate concerns, and in a year, we'd sure like to hear those concerns answered.
Absolutely.
Evans?
Yes.
Miller?
With a comment that I think that any way that we can market something to let people know more information about the artist's intents on these pieces is helpful. So I think there's a little bit of an onus on the group to make sure that you're doing the extra work to get the word out. But I think it's a pretty low investment to try to achieve that goal, so I will approve it.
So that's a yes?
I think I eyed it in the beginning.
Mick Evers?
Yeah, this is a tough one. Dan, you kind of stirred the pot. I wish you'd have stirred the pot a little earlier. No, and you're an app guy, so apps don't make any sense to old guys. So I'm going to support it, and hopefully we will look into this. And I would squeeze the guy, say, hey, there was a lot of diversity, division on the council, and can you come down a grand? And let's see what, well, this is where the buck stops, right? I guess it's a half yes.
Okay. Gookin?
No.
English?
Yes.
Thank you.
I thought I was going to get my first time.
I'll try harder.
Sorry, the motion passes.
Mr. Mayor, I'd move to adjourn.
Second.
Third.
All those in favor of the motion respond with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Bang, bang.
Dan, you just.